All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Let me get myself set. We want to make sure that we are all going live on Facebook and we are sharing. So I want to thank each of you all for joining us tonight for this very, very, very special ColumbusBlack.com Support Black Business Series. So what we do with Columbus Black is we connect the community, the Black community, to commerce and to culture. And what you all are going to see tonight is a special version of that, as we have the unique opportunity to interview someone that's very, very special and is providing us all with a great opportunity. So with that being said, let me see, I want to make sure that we are actually live. Let me get on your page real quick. And let's see if we have what we have going on. There we go. This is what I'm talking about right here, y'all. Hold on one second. We are sharing actively on ColumbusBlack.com's page. Right now, you all are following me on Himiko Sadiki's page. Some of you may be tied to Bridges Book Club as well, as we are getting ready right now for a special night. We are almost there. Here we go. We are now officially showing on ColumbusBlack.com's page. So with that being said, y'all, as I said, we connect our community to commerce and to culture. Tonight is a special night because we highlight different businesses every single Thursday through our Throwback Thursday Support Black Business series. But tonight we have the special opportunity to actually have a co-host with me by the name of Stephanie R. Bridges, who's an author and obviously the founder of Bridges Book Club. And in addition to that, our real special guest tonight is the author of Cuffed and Bound. Ladies and gentlemen, with us tonight, we have, at the same time, we have Himiko, otherwise known as Miko Sadiki.
Yes.
So, excited to have her with us tonight as we get ready to share a little bit more about her book and her book launch that's actually going to kick off. But I'm not going to go into all the details of that. What I want to do tonight is get everybody ready for an awesome interview, because one of the things I could tell you about Miko is the fact that she has been extremely transparent, and she's done that through her book. And I'm sure tonight is going to be the exact same way. Now, most of y'all know that when I'm on the show is that we have a little bit of fun, right? So we keep it casual, and sometimes we go from level 8 to level 10. Tonight is probably going to be a level 12. Actually here. So I'm just telling y'all to brace yourselves and actually get ready, because it is literally about to go down. Yes. So with that being said, why don't we do this? For those that are new, because I know tonight we're actually streaming through multiple channels. So I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to introduce themselves, because we have a variety of people watching tied to our different audiences. So I'm going to start, obviously, for those that know, Kevin Lloyd, founder and CEO of ColumbusBlack.com. We've been around almost 16 years. Once again, I said we connect the community to commerce and to culture. Tonight, you're going to get a combination of both. The commerce side is around business, and y'all going to learn about that. And then the culture side is around lifestyle, and y'all going to definitely learn about that. All right. So we're going to keep it real interesting. Now, with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie to introduce herself. And then we're going to go ahead and transition over to our featured guest tonight. All right.
All right.
Hello, everybody. I'm so super hyped to be here tonight with Kevin and Himiko with Columbus Black, doing it big for the Black culture. And I am Stephanie R. Bridges. I'm a writer, author, publisher, and founder of the Bridges Book Club. So I hope the Bridges Book Club is tuned in, because this is a book that you definitely want to go ahead and pre-order today, tonight, to now. And let's get into it. There it
is. Yes. Only question I have really quick, Kevin, I don't see the people's comments. Like, is that normal?
So what we'll be able to do actually to see that is we'll go ahead and look at the chat, right? So on Facebook, so actually on your Facebook page, you'll actually be able to see the chat, which is where we'll see the comments. We won't see them on Zoom, but we'll see them on Facebook, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you might have to pop up another window, or you can actually check on your phone, which I think you might be on IG on your phone, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm on IG on my phone.
All right. So what we'll do is I'll make sure if somebody, because one of the things we're going to do, y'all, so that y'all have an idea is as we talk, we're going to open this up for Q&A as well, right? Some questions, some answers. So if there's something in the chat, I'll be monitoring. I'll drop it in so Himiko can actually see it, and we can get those answered for you, whether it's for her or for Stephanie, okay? So why don't we go ahead and jump into your introduction, the lady of the hour, the author of tonight of Cuffed and Bound, as I said before, Himiko Sadiki. So why don't you introduce yourself, Himiko?
Yes, thank you guys. I too am very excited to be here. My name is Himiko Sadiki. I am a real estate industry leader, not a real estate agent. I am an author. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so excited about that. I am also the creator of the online course called The Budget Blueprint, where I teach people how to get out of their debt using their own money. But more importantly, I'm here tonight in pursuit of helping people get uncuffed and unbound.
Outstanding, outstanding. So while the name and the title is Cuffed and Bound, as she said, she's here to teach you all how to become uncuffed and unbound. And that's so powerful in itself. So what we're going to do is, as you all know, Stephanie's here and she has expertise from an author standpoint and the publisher and all that good stuff. So the ladies are going to get a little woven into the whole book writing piece. But I want to kick it off real quick to just get into the meat of it and have us understand a little bit of what led you, right? Because y'all are going to go a little bit deeper, but like what led you to even get to this point, right? You talked about your background with real estate and now you've written this book, you're an author. Help us understand the basics and then y'all can go a little bit deeper after.
Okay, when you say, clarify so I'm clear. When you say understand the basics of how I got to writing the book or basics of?
Yeah, what led you to actually write this book to become an author? And then we'll go into more details.
Well, you know, this book is about transparency, so I'm going to be a little transparent right now. When I first began to write this book, at the end of that relationship that this book is, you know, kind of derivative around, I wrote it because I wanted to have it as a bullhorn about how I felt and wanted to express myself. But as I began to write the book, it became very clear that my assignment was, this whole thing was an assignment from God. It had nothing to do with being a bullhorn. As I began to write the book, it became clear that my purpose was tied to serving others and helping them to get from where they are through my journey to where they want to be. But you can't do that sometimes unless you have somebody that you've watched make that walk, then you can follow the steps. So I realized when I initially wrote it, I wrote it with the intention of being heard and understood, and then realized it was really my purpose.
All right. And there you have it. So listen, y'all, this is how this works. Every now and then, y'all know what I do. Those that follow me, you'll see me doing this gesture, right? That means that gems are being dropped. And when she's dropping gems, y'all gonna see me going like this. I may not scream or shout, but y'all are gonna know knowledge is being dropped and y'all are gonna wanna pay very close attention. The other thing is every now and then I may jump in because what I find is that people drop knowledge so subtly because it's who they are, it's what they do, and they have it up here, they have it here, and it just comes out, and you may miss it. But if I catch it, you better believe we're going back for a second so y'all really catch why I'm doing this, all right?
Okay.
So with that being said, and I had to make sure she knew that too, because I don't want to scare her when I start going crazy, all right? So with that being said, before we jump in, I would be remiss if I did not also give a shout out, right? So ColumbusBlack.com Support Black Business Series is actually sponsored by the Ohio Small Business Development Centers at Columbus State Community College, and we appreciate their support in helping small businesses to get off the ground and keep going. Now, with that being said, we're going to flip this, and I'm turning it over to the ladies for a really good conversation because this book is good.
Are you ready for conversation?
I'm ready. I think. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm buckling up.
Yes, this book is a cautionary tale. It is so important for men, for women, for everyone, because in reading it, I learned so much, and it was like a warning call to me as well. So I so appreciate your transparency. And the first thing that I want to talk about is your title and the cover. So it's Cuffed and Bound, and I know it puts a lot of different things in different people's minds, but tell us how you came up with that title and the relevance of it.
So Cuffed and Bound I was my husband's submissive because I wanted the relationship to, we're going to go right on in. You just go right, the book going to take you in anyway, so we might as well just start right there. I was his submissive because let me clarify, we were divorced and I knew we were going to come back together. And when we did, one of the things he wanted to do was train me to be his wife, but he did that through me being a submissive. So I became cuffed and bound in the sexual sense, yes, but also in my mental, in my emotional, in my spiritual, and in my financial. So the term cuffed and bound is reflective of the state of mind I was in, mentally, emotionally, and financially, not just sexually.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I love the way you put everything, because we talk a lot about physical abuse, verbal abuse, and even sexual abuse, but the emotional abuse that you went through, like I literally felt that. And during like the second half of the book, I was like, oh my goodness, I was like spinning around with you, like get out. Like I wanted you to run so we could get to safety. I mean, it was just that real.
Yeah.
But in the beginning and kind of throughout, you are very forthcoming with taking some ownership in the way that the relationship played out. And for me, even though I love that, I love a flawed main character, because we're all human, you took some blame where I thought it was a little bit misplaced, even to the point where, you were sounding to me like one of the online relationship gurus. And you made the comment that, sometimes Black women can, downgrade Black men without us even knowing it. And I was kind of cringing in the beginning, but then to see everything you went through, I'm like, why? So talk about that.
That's a very interesting perspective, but again, that's a perspective, right? So when I hear you talking right now, there's different ways you could take that. One, you could either take accountability or you can play a victim. The only way to move forward in life is to take accountability for where you were. And then you can no longer be a victim at that point. So for me being transparent and being honest was about taking responsibility so that I can move to the other side of healed and help the people that I'm here to serve. So I'm about taking responsibility. That was what that was. And the thing is, you got to take 100% responsibility, not just some.
And I love that you said that, because in any situation, even if we aren't quote unquote at fault or in the wrong, we are in that place. And like Spirit was talking to you and telling you what was going on, we're in a place for a reason, and taking responsibility for being in that place is so important. So I'm glad you stated that, even though I'm still kind of cringing, but but that's okay. And then I also wanted to talk about Spirit a little bit more, because you bring that up a lot.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like you were in this perpetual competition with these other women. And it was like a made up competition because there was no prize. Yeah. And I felt like that really held you in that situation for longer than you needed to be, because you felt somehow you want to big up somebody or you were going to win.
So what you just asked me about was ego. Was my ego present? And I thank you for asking me that question, because I think at some point, sure, you have some of your ego that's there because I was married to him. So I had this, I'm different than them. So sure, you have that ego, but my ego did not allow me to stay. So ego may have allowed me to be in the relationship, but I did not succumb to the point where I couldn't get out because of my ego. A lot of people get into these relationships and stay in relationships because of their ego. So although I may have used it or had it at the time, it didn't allow me to stay.
Okay, so talk a little bit about your breaking point then, because he had a lot of requests. He had a lot of requirements. Yes. He was throwing things left and right. If you didn't meet this, he had a little bit of that for you. Yeah. What was the final, no, I can't go through another fiery hoop?
My daughter. In the book, I talked to you about how my daughter had asked her dad, Daddy, do you have another girlfriend? And he said, yes, but your mama knows about it. And the moment he said that, I began to break down inside, because I was the example for my daughter. And I knew my daughter was watching me. If my daughter watched me stay in that type of environment, that meant when she became a woman, she would stay in that type of environment. So I had no choice but to make a decision when my daughter became so aware of what was going on that she could verbalize it to her dad, that I needed to get out because I was her role model of what it looks like to be resilient when you fall down. And that don't mean staying down.
Right. So, and I'm glad you pointed that part of the book out, because when that occurred, I believe you guys were in the car or something.
Yep.
And I didn't know, I didn't know if you would be upset or if you would be like, oh, okay, well, that's true. It's factual, it's actual. Like, I didn't know what your response would be. So it was definitely very interesting to see, on one hand, you really working hard to fulfill your marital duties, wherever those, however far left those were.
Right.
To having like an inner voice telling you the whole time, like, this is not okay. And recognizing that through your children. I'm gonna skip a little bit, but since we're talking about your children, can you just tell us a little bit about, now that you're going through the healing process, like what that looks like for you all and what it is that you're regaining?
I think for my children, most importantly, the one thing that I'm finding with them is they're also finding their own voice. One thing I am true about is allowing a person to be who they are, because as a parent, my job is only to be bumper rails for them, but not to tell them who they are. So I think what I've gotten an opportunity to see is watch my children become who they are outside of their dad, because he doesn't live here anymore. It's just us. They don't go back and forth. So they have consistency, stability, and the freedom to be self. And so that, I think, is what I'm watching in my children. I'm watching them blossom and grow. My son has retinal pigmentosa, which means he could eventually go blind. And I saw him dampering who he was because of fear. When you have a person that speaks loudly around you and you don't have a loud voice just yet, right? You tend to whimper down. Right. I saw that in my son. And now that I watch my son when he's with me majority of the time, the blessing is I'm watching him become who he is. And it's because I'm a bumper rail, not a teller of who he needs to be.
Right. So, and I love what you're talking about, because oftentimes, and you stated this, one of the reasons why you wanted to stay in the relationship was for your children, but getting out of the relationship, it far outweighs, the good, as far as they are concerned. And so I hope people are hearing that. Like, oftentimes it's the picture, it's the perception, it's what we want so bad, what we didn't have. And we hold on to that so tight that we lose, what's most important. So talk a little bit about, we all get to our places some way, and talk a little bit about your relationship with your parents, and, what wasn't there or was there, and how it brought you to where you are.
That's an amazing question right now. One of the things I want to start with is I realized I want it for my children, not what they wanted for themselves. I wanted what I wanted as a child, not what they wanted. What they wanted was their mom. They didn't care if it came with or came without. It was just me. They didn't care. So I realized I was fighting for what I wanted, not what they wanted. And I think that changes the dynamics of our relationship now, because I'm watching them blossom and bloom. As a child, I had my mom, she worked 2 jobs. Man, she could work circles around the best of them, clean the house, she can cook, she can do all that stuff. She can cook in a darn microwave. The girl she was bad. But we didn't have the emotional connection because my mom was a worker. She didn't have time to nurture. So, and then my father, as you read in the book, I find out is not who I thought he was all these years. The father that I thought was related to I have 5 siblings. And I thought that he was my dad. And I was upset with my mom because I didn't grow up knowing him. And through this journey, through having my Facebook audience, someone sent me a letter, and I find out that my father, all these years that I thought was my dad, is really not. It's actually the man sitting behind, that you see sitting in this picture behind me, who is actually Jewish. So I come to find out my identity at the same time through this whole process. Before, I was Black, white, Mexican, and Creole, until 23andMe said, no, sister girl, you a Jew and you Nigerian. That's what you are. So I was like, oh, I don't like bean burritos after all. So it really has been a journey of discovering who I am.
Okay, definitely. All right, so I know for me as a reader, and I know you said, you know, I was one of the first readers of your book. It was kind of like 3 different books. So in the very beginning, it was a very gripping narrative. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
Then it turned into what felt to me like more of a stream of consciousness. And that was the difficult part for me, because I was, like I said, I was stressed. I was like, can we get out of this already? Like, I don't know what. And I was feeling the emotional abuse. So I can't imagine how that was for you. But then at the end, you bring us really full circle where you give us a lot of clarity, you know, that professional, that voice comes out, you know, the teacher comes out. And for me, I could easily go through each part and be like, yes, this is the same person, because this is who we are. We're multifaceted people. And so just tell me a little bit why it was important to have that last part, that message for the readers.
The getting to the other side of healed and how I do it. Here's the thing. When I was going through my life falling apart financially, emotionally, and spiritually, I didn't have a guide. I didn't have anyone telling me how do you get to the other side of healed? And when your life falls apart, how do you bring that thing back together? I was YouTube and Google University. I promise you that. There is no self-help guide that can give you all these things. So it was important for me to, one, tell you my story, because you can't connect with me unless you know what I've been through. And I can't tell you what to do unless I've been through it myself. And then I can't tell you how I got there without having gone through the steps myself. So this whole end of the book, when I share what to do, was because I wanted people to learn, how do you bring your life back together when it falls apart? Divorce, breakup, you know, loss of someone through death. You have to bring your life back together. You can't stay down, baby. But how do you do it? Let me lead the way with you.
Okay, definitely. So what do things look like now for Himiko on the other side of healed, and, you know, the process?
What it looks like now, what I want to be clear about is I don't want to say I'm healed, because healing is a journey, and healing can't start until an incision is made, right? If we go to the doctor and the doctor cuts you, you're not healed in that moment. You're going through the healing journey. So I got cut already. I've been sewed up already. And now I'm in the healing. So I'm in the process of. So I don't want to mistake people to think like, oh, she healed, she good. No, it is a journey. I was in that for 14 years, been out of it for 10 months. It don't take 10 months to heal from 14 years. It takes a process. So I'm still processing that myself. So what it looks like is getting up in the morning and making time for myself, because what I was so busy worrying about someone else's needs that I forgot who I was. So I get up in the morning and I create space for myself as a single mom with 3 kids. You can't get up and just go into your day because you become irritated with your children. You got to create space. So I get up at 5:30. I do my workouts. I spend Friday nights and Saturdays one-on-one with each of my kids, so that they don't ever feel like I felt like, you know, their mom wasn't there. My clients, I have specific hours that I work with them, and then I don't answer their phone calls after that, because now I'm a mom again. So what it looks like is me finding the balance and the rhythm at the same time of wanting to be an inspiration to others in the process.
Definitely.
That was a whole lot.
Definitely. All right. So we don't want to give too much of the book away, but just thinking back through some of the things that you went through and some of the things that you did, and I know you're willing to take ownership. Can you give us one thing that you did, you know, by his request, or even just because, you call yourself a nosy MF? Like,
right.
What was one thing that you did where you was like, where you thought you would never do that, and you saw it happening?
I never saw myself as anybody submissive, because I knew there was an assignment on my life. And becoming a submissive to someone, I felt belittled and beneath myself. And I was still willingly willing to go through that, because I wanted what for my children, not what they wanted for themselves, but what I wanted. And so that's what I can say to that right there.
Okay, definitely. So and this is the last question that I'll ask right now. In the beginning of the book, you open it with a friend of yours, Sita, I believe is the name.
Wida.
Yeah. And then you close with that, with that same person. So for me, since there were so many women,
right,
like she didn't really have that big of an impact. Like if she would not have been in the book, everything would have played out the same way in my mind, except for maybe some positive, because at the end with what happens, and you show, and you can talk about that, but if in her mind that was the closing of the relationship, and somehow it convinced you that in your mind that was the closing of a relationship, it was actually she actually played a positive role in the book, from my perspective.
Well, that's an interesting perspective to have. I think if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done what I wanted to do some time ago, but wasn't ready to do, which was burn my wedding dress. I literally internally wanted to move on, but I was emotionally stuck. It was that relationship and hearing another woman express to me how he spoke to her in the same tone that he spoke to me, which made me realize that I was no different than anyone else. I had a ring and a piece of paper, but that's all that was. There was no weight behind that. So that relationship gave me the power to see who I was dealing with and how I was showing up, and that I was time to let go and make peace with it. But in the end, she also showed me who she was, because at the end, if you remember in the very last sentence, she had left me a message 10 months before she ever became my friend. She was seeing him already and left me a message, getting played left and right, baby girl, getting played. I didn't hear that message until July 7th of 2020, which was long after our friendship was over. So she was already dating him 10 months before, unbeknownst to me. So that's where I think what it all came into play was her giving me the power to burn the dress and make peace and move on.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm so glad. Look, I'm so glad that we were able to move on. I really felt.
Yes, absolutely.
I really felt a part of it. Like, man, listen, and I believe, honestly, if anybody genuinely reads this book, it will give them the power to make necessary changes in their relationships if need so, because you do break it down so well, spiritually, emotionally, financially, I mean, everything. So there's no way you can read this book and walk away or walk back into a relationship where you are being emotionally, financially, sexually, abused in these different manners and feel like, oh, I'm good, it's okay, and just keep up that wall. So I say thank you for your transparency. It's amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. I think it was important to be transparent, because when people look at me, they look at me and they think, oh, she ain't been through nothing. She looks bougie. She's, this big real estate industry leader. And they look at me in that way. But behind closed doors, other things go on. And with that, what I am a billboard for is pain comes in different forms. It doesn't matter what it looks on the outside. Internally, people are broken and going through something. And so if I can use my life to be a stepping place for someone else to get a catalyst on their life, that was what the purpose of this book is. This is my mission. This is my purpose, is to use myself to say, you can get up no matter if you got a weave in your hair and your body looking bang and your nails is done. Something's going on with you, sis. And please use my story to empower you.
Definitely.
Well. Y'all saw me back here just dropping all those gem drops. What a conversation. Absolutely powerful. And I see a lot of comments. People are saying that they can't wait to read the book. Getting it right now. So this is what I need everybody to do, because we actually have a pretty decent audience right now watching online.
I'm going to give you the book. They can order it. Use that link right there. That landing page will send them out. They can order the book today. and get it in the next 3 days. Even though we're not officially launching until May 1st, Saturday, I'm giving my little crew a little tip and the insider that they can order now.
Okay. Okay. So listen, y'all can get that book. Actually, the link is in there. Is it the pre-order link? The welcome to the landing page?
So the pre-order link will take them directly over to Amazon.
Absolutely. So you all should actually see that. That is available in the comments as well, right? So you all will see that. We want you all to do something right now. No, this is the best thing you all can do because this is a powerful book. And one of the things that, that Stephanie mentioned when she kicked it off was this is for everybody, right? Like men and women both need to read this book, okay? Because it is really powerful. It's going to help you understand so much about yourself, your relationship, and yourself again, okay? Yeah. So with that being said, we're not done. I'm just making sure everybody does what we need them to do, which was click on that link. Then the other thing I need you all to do is hit the share button. Why? Because don't take this and keep it in yourself. That's a part of the problem today, right? We get great information and great opportunities to be better, and we keep it to ourselves. Yeah. This needs to be shared with other people. All you need to do is take 3 seconds and hit the share button and make sure other people that follow you get to watch this video as well, okay? So with that being said, I have a couple of questions for you, right? Because you ended up talking about you kicked it off with accountability, right? Yeah. And I know that that's something that misses, a lot of people miss that part. And I think you did that very uniquely. Like you looked at yourself in the mirror first with your actions. And then you talked about how you can't heal yourself if you don't take care of what you're responsible for from the beginning, right? And for me, I started doing these, right? Because that's a major yet subtle gem drop because a lot of people still are focused on, you mentioned it earlier, their ego. And holding on to themselves and not being accountable. So thank you for sharing that. And we need everybody to read the book because they will pick it up. And I thought what was cool was the way you gave examples. Like you just called things out as it happened. And I think it's going to help everybody else start to look at things a little differently and pay attention to themselves because this is where it all begins, right? So thank you for that. I want to thank you for talking about your kids, right? And you dropped some more subtle gems in there. What did you use the term, right? In regards to me, it's like nurturing and then freedom. But what was the term you used again?
You're talking about the bumper rails?
Yeah, there you go. So that's really because she's bumper rails, right? So she's not telling them you have to, you must do, right? She's letting them grow and become who they need to be. But guess what? There's some rails and some parameters, and she's there to help guide them a little bit, but not overly controlling. And that's so important. And think about how many of you could say that about your parents? Hopefully all of us could, but we know we can't, right? Everybody can't say, my parents were bumper rails to keep me from running off the road, but they let me do what I needed to do and grow and they nurtured me. Some were very controlling, right? So thank you for being that mom with that balance. And I know that as a mother, right? And then I think about the single dads too that have had to go through those situations that you talked about and still navigate through life in the midst of all that challenge and hurt and pain as they're rebuilding, right? As you talk about that healing, going through that journey, which we're going to do in a minute. Kudos for going through that process, right? So I want to ask you this question though.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
Because I already know. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm listening.
No, it's really not that hard. It's not that hard. So here's the deal, right? Stephanie asked you some questions about the book because she had a chance to really go through and read it. You shared your answers to that. But I want to hear in your words, right? When you think about Uncuffed and Unbound, as we hear from the author, Himiko Sadiki herself, what is it that you want people to actually get from the book, right? So in your own words, what do you want them to get from the book? And what do you think they will get from the book?
I think the one thing that I want people to get from the book is how we, using the words cuff and bound, how we stick ourselves in a situation and we stay there. And sometimes when let's talk about it from a financial place, right? I went broke, was on food stamps. I could either stay there or I can use that as a life lesson and a tool for later on. So what that looks like now for me is getting uncuffed from a financial place and being able to look back at my experiences. I'm just going to share a little one with you.
Yeah.
God gave me a test again, okay? Because back in the day, I was like American Express, everywhere you want to be. So I needed to get a new car. And as I needed to get this new car, God gave me a car that was a reasonable price car. And he gave me that Range Rover, same exact colors. And I was like, same day, I went to the same dealership, 2 different dealerships. And I was like, oh, I want that Range, it's pretty. And then the other car was there and it was practical, the price was right, and it was exactly everything that I needed. And it was like God was telling me, now that I'm giving you the experience, what you're going to do with it this time. So this book was about being able to look back at where I was. And now this time that my life has come full circle, my finances are back where they were, my credit score is back where it was. Everything is back where it was. It's like God's like, okay, I done gave you the experience. Now what you going to do with it? So Uncuff and Unbound is your opportunity to look back at your past and become better from who you were and become who you are to be.
I appreciate, I just want to jump in right there because I want to say that right there is even separate from a relationship. So even if, you know, you weren't in a relationship or maybe a romantic relationship, because we all have relationships that, you know, may be toxic or may not be healthy, it's still an opportunity to really look at where it is that you were and what it is that you're going to do moving forward and how you're going to free yourself. So that's a huge point because so many of us are cuffed financially. And
Absolutely.
when we get those options and make those choices, it's like, you know, throw it to the
Make
wind.
it rain.
You know what I mean? Make it rain. And we're not taking that time to really think, okay, God is like, here it is. Here are your options. This is for you. What are you going to do this time? We know what you did the last time, the time before that. But what are you going to do this time?
Baby.
Right. So, I mean, so yeah, everyone, please read the book. And this is not a male bashing book whatsoever.
For real?
Would you say?
For real? It's not?
At all. She doesn't go hard. I mean, she tells what happened, but she doesn't make a lot of, you know, she doesn't make any diagnosis or say this was wrong or try to go into his backstory and say, like, none of that. It's very matter of fact. This is what happened. This is what I did in the situation. This is where I take my responsibility. So it is not a male bashing book at all. So please, if male, female, read the book. Don't say, no, I'm not going to read it because it's just another, like I said, you know, she called out us before she never said nothing about y'all. I was like, still like, hold up. But so.
Right. So I'm telling you, because we have to take accountability for ourselves as women, because we are quick to, even just as people, we're quick to look at somebody else, but we don't even look at ourselves like, what caused that? Cause and effect.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, a word to the brothers, like, she talked about your transparency earlier. Stephanie did, right? Like, you are super transparent. I promise you, people who read the book are gonna be like, I needed to hear, like, I never looked at it that way before.
Yeah.
And for the fellas, some of the fellas, especially in the front for sure, are gonna be like, finally somebody said it, right? Like,
right.
So it really is for everybody. But I want to come back to what I felt was so heavy. Y'all saw me going crazy back here, dropping all the gems. Because outside of the relationship piece, just move that out. You as an individual, we go back to that accountability piece, but when we talk about uncuffed and unbound, the thing is we are cuffing and bounding ourselves to so much that, like, the book helps you understand how you're screwing up yourself, right? And she's helping to get you on the other side of that in multiple ways, right? So it's just powerful. And I think, you know how you said this is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, God is, you mentioned it many a times. God told you to do this. He told you to do that. And we don't listen sometimes. And she talks about those times in the book, just like she just shared. But this is when you did listen, right? And you have now given, as all authors know, you have now given yourself to everyone for eternity. And this is a book that people need to and have to read. So thank you.
Yeah, writing this book, honestly, was the vulnerability of this book the transparency of it and my career are two different people, or two different images, I should say, but it's all the same person. So I was struggling with putting it out there because I have the way people see me, and then the way that I, behind closed doors, my emotional state behind doors. So I had a hard time, but then I became to realize that that's what needs to be shown, because we as people need to know, like, she might look like she got it going on or she got it going banging, but behind closed doors, when sis ain't got her makeup on, when her emotions, and she's sitting on that couch, she needs somebody. And you cannot relate to somebody unless they're transparent about who they are.
Well,
yeah.
I drop gems, but that's like dropping the mic. Like, what else can you say?
Yeah.
Right. I do want to jump in on that as well, because, you know, I didn't know Himiko before, but just even in the midst of her telling her story, like in business, she was a beast. If she needed to have it, she made it happen. She made it pop. Like nothing stopped that. Nothing stopped that. No matter what was going on emotionally or whatever, she took care of business. And so I think it's so important as people that we realize that we are whole people. And, you know, we can all learn so much from her in regards to real estate and finance, and just having that grind, having that ambition, like going for yours. Like there's so much there. And then she can still be the same person that struggles in other areas and is going through the process of healing, because we all are. None of us, you know, like show up on 100. We can pretend, you know, I like to do it sometimes, but it's, you know.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the one thing that I learned from this whole experience with in the last 14 years is showing up authentically, where before I was not a good friend. I was not a good mother at that time. I was focused on self. I'm learning to be a better listener and ask people, what can I help you with? Versus, hey, you need me to sell you a house. Oh, you need that. I wasn't a friend. I was like trying to get to the paycheck. Now I'm learning to just be present with people in a lot of ways. This whole journey has taken me to that, because me not showing up for people showed me that people will show up for me the way I was showing up for them.
You ain't dropping, Kevin. Where's the gym drop? I got your back.
I'm just telling you.
That's what a co-host does. She got me covered. She's like, where's the gem drops?
It's the truth. So people will show up for you the way you show up for them. So if you show up as a business person, when you need them, when you have a need emotionally, they're not going to be there because you showed up just as business. So treat people the way you want to be treated is really show up for them the way you need someone to show up for you.
All right, there you go. So listen, here's where I want to go now is I want us to talk about what's next. You know, Stephanie, I know you had an opportunity to jump in, read the book. I know there's a lot of stuff that you shared, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and switch gears, because people have been asking for the link. They obviously want to order the book. I know that Himiko has been working on her campaign in preparation for what's coming up next. So Himiko, with that being said, would you walk us through what are next steps, right? When is the actual release of the book? What should we expect coming forward for you over the next few months and beyond that as well? Where are you going with this?
So thank you for asking that question. So the book is actually officially launching on May 1st, which is Saturday. But you know, your girl, the book is already up there. People have seen the book online, so they done already went about the book, honey. My sister done sent me a picture. I got your book. Where? She bought it online already. So the book is on Amazon right now, but there's a behind the scenes juicy fireside chat where I'm going to be answering questions. You'll see things that you won't see on social media. You'll get that when you're up on my actual Cuff and Bound website. So there's the Cuff and Bound website that's coming. That'll all be May 1st. And then I'm going to do a Cuff and Bound Academy, because like I said, I was on YouTube University trying to figure out how do I pull my life back together. So I want to create an opportunity.
So it looks like
okay, there you are. I want to create an opportunity where people can come, where I can help them get their financial house in order, get their personal house in order, organization is one of my strong suits. So I want to teach you how do you, if your house is in chaos, your mind is in chaos. So I want to help you unchaos your mind through helping you with your personal house, your financial house, and then getting you in preparation to buy a home or whatever it is that you want to do. I want to take you through that journey. I want to introduce you some of my friends that they are counselors and that they can help you from an emotional place. So I want this academy, this university that I want to build is going to be where if Stephanie, if Kevin, if your life fell apart, you can come and get some guidance and some support.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. And y'all know that that's going to change.
I mean, this ain't a book, this is a movement.
Yeah, it is a movement, right? And it's huge because people need that, like so many, especially, I mean, we got to realize, you know, especially now, right? In the middle of a pandemic, trying to come out of it, people's lives have changed and transformed. People are broken. They were broken before the pandemic, and now it's a lot of cases even worse. And people are trying to rebuild and get their lives together. And here you are building this opportunity and this movement, like you said. That's amazing, and what a blessing! What a blessing. So, and it's an academy, technically, is what you're looking to build, right?
Yeah, I want to call it the Cuff and Bound Academy, right? Just an online course won't do for me. So I want it to be in a Zoom setting where we're all online, and there's going to be some homework assignments. And then when you come back, we'll have gotten those done, because if it's a course online you can watch at any time, you won't do it. But if you're doing it and you have accountability partners, you'll get it done. And so I want to be there and support, because if I had support, I probably would have left a long time ago.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. So listen, one of the things that we try to do on our show all the time is, you know, when we get to this point, sometimes we get ready to wrap up and we realize that, you know, it's something you wanted to share, but you didn't share. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't say this, right? So is there anything that you definitely wanted to make sure that the audience heard tonight from you that we have not already talked about? Because we want to make sure, you know, they get to hear that from you, if there is anything else.
No, I think you guys did an excellent job tonight. Stephanie did a phenomenal job, not knowing me as a person, but in reading my book and bringing out the elements that people will be interested in. Kevin, I think you came in with your gem dropping. I think what needed to be said tonight was said, and I feel very good about it. I just want y'all to definitely read the book. And if you need some help, please find me and I will help you, because that's what I'm here for.
Outstanding, outstanding. So listen, Himiko, one of the things about you as well is you have an amazing personality. How can people follow you, right? So if they want to begin to follow you and follow the book and all the things that you're doing, how do they, like, what channels are you on and what are your handles?
So everything across the board is my name, Himiko Sadiki. So that would be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, every chat. Just find me. It's all Himiko Sadiki. All right. If you're on Peloton, honey, ride with me on Peloton too. Okay. We get in shape together.
There you go. All right, y'all. She dropped all the handles. Y'all know how to get in touch with her. You know how to follow her, all that good stuff. I'm going to ask y'all to do two things once again, right? Y'all know what they are? Okay. Here's what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to share right now. So I want you to share with your friends, your family members. I want y'all to tag people. They need to hear this message. And guess what the second thing is? I want y'all to click on that link in the comments so that you can go ahead and get the book, right? Guarantee you will not be disappointed by it, okay? So with that being said, we're going to wrap up, y'all. So this is what we do on ColumbusBlack.com, support Black business series. We highlight and showcase Black business owners and the great things that they're doing, especially when they're impacting and changing lives. I want to thank my co-host tonight, Stephanie R. Bridges with the Bridges Book Club, whoop, whoop, representing, doing what she does. And then obviously our special guest and the author, Himiko Sadiki, for Cuffed and Bound, right? So get cuffed and bound so that you can get uncuffed and unbound, all right? And as we always do, I want to thank our sponsor, Ohio Small Business Development Centers at Columbus State Community College, for their support. We're going to wrap up as we always do, right? In order to be more successful in your future, you need to understand a little bit more about your past. That's the reason why we just had this lineup. She's dropping gem drops for me because we had a blast. All right, y'all. And on that note, I'm out. Y'all all have a good one. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.